Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 4 of Kickin Back. We're getting along now. So I am joined today by the Kickback team again, Ollie, Kirsten and Emma. How are you guys? How have you been? How was Christmas?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay. This is great news. So
The sauce and noises.
COVID has not been a fun time, so it's definitely been making the rounds, so I do not blame you at all for that reaction. But so kind of today's podcast, we're just going to be talking a little bit about this year, because obviously Kickback was made very early on this year, and it's been kind of like the first official year of its birth and creation and everything, which is kind of wild. So I guess my first question is, was creating the company an easy process, and did it take a lot of planning, or was it just kind of like, was it quite quick? Was it just a conversation? Like, tell me more. What was going on?
I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie, which probably means that it was quite painless. It was definitely, we just started it from a conversation, and I think we just continued having conversations until we were like, oh god, this is getting serious now.
Yeah, I've got fragments of it, but I remember it was like a process of like, hey, yeah, let's, we're in lockdown, we could do this cool thing, and there'll be like zero consequence. And then when we started looking into the logistics of it, it's like, oh, so now we need to do this, oh, so now we need to do this, oh, so now we need to do this, and then the list just kept getting longer and longer and longer, to the point where 9 months on, we still haven't done like half the things on the original list.
We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about that list. We do.
Yeah.
It's fine, we're getting there, but that's quite interesting that it's a quick process. So obviously many thoughts were going on in lockdown, but the fact that Kickback kind of came out of lockdown is quite nice. So my next question kind of like links to that. So kind of, what was the process like behind A Phone Call Cataclysmic? Had they been written prior to the creation of Kickback, or were the pieces kind of like written with the intention of like being a double bill, or were they just kind of created upon the creation of Kickback, if that makes sense?
They were both basically written before Kickback was a thing. Cataclysmic I started writing March 2020 to like January 2020. So I started writing that before the lockdown, and then continued writing it during lockdown. And then A Phone Call was like September 2020 onwards, and that ended up being finished in like January 2021 to February 2021. So it was kind of like, oh, we're making a theatre company. Oh, we kind of have the script. But I think we just had like a meeting, and it was like, hey, what do we do for our first show? And we just went on one of the folders on my computer. It's like, hey, what crap do I have we could put out? But I got all
something like that. Yeah. Because I remember you bringing some of the scripts to me just to read as like a friend before we were sort of discussing doing the company and stuff. So I kind of knew a little bit about them as they were coming up. I think you definitely suggested like, why don't we put these two together? I think it was more like, these are our most finished pieces.
Oh, yeah.
These are the ones that are done, so we should do those rather than like making more work for ourselves.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Like, so if it wasn't for the creation of Kickback, did you have any like plans for these plays, or were they just kind of like for you, for like your own kind of like, yeah, I've done these, or were you like thinking about pitching them to the guild, or like?
Yeah, I think Cataclysmic, I was interested in pitching that to the guild at one point, and then a pandemic happened, and like that no longer was like as much of an option. What's A Phone Call was a bit more like an experiment of like, hey, I don't really write dialogue in the things I do. Let's mess around with that. Let's see if I can write a play that's just purely dialogue.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow, that's so wild to me. Wow. So I guess moving on, what has been your biggest highlight? This question is aimed at everyone, so like in regards to kind of like, I don't know, behind the scenes work, kind of like the process or just the plays and the pieces themselves? Like, what has been a highlight for you? Kirsten, gonna come to you first. What has been a highlight?
I feel like I say this every time, but I definitely think that Cataclysmic and a phone call was a highlight, because when we were filming outside and then we kind of done rehearsals in the morning, there was that really intense day, remember? We had rehearsals all day, and it was nice. It was like, oh look, we're actually doing something and we're making something. And it's been like a really tricky time for theatre. And it, like, I guess acting and monologue and all those modules being online, and it wasn't as fun as it maybe should have been. And then it was all of us kind of gathered together, and we we're all like really good friends and close and making something, and it kind of felt we were finally doing what we were meant to be doing, and that was really nice.
Oh, I agree. Do you know what? For a moment, that's a really wholesome answer. But for a minute, I thought you were going to reference back to the Robin. Like, in the back of my head, I was like, she's going to say it, but you didn't. So
I don't know if that was a highlight, more of a thing that just happened.
It was a highlight for everyone else. Everyone else.
All right, Emma, what about you? Any highlights?
I mean, working with like this company, seeing it through right from the very, very start, when we were like, we should do something, to now when we've got like so much more going on, has been great. But I think that was epitomized by a moment. Ollie and I don't know whether Kirsten was there, but Ollie and I were at a party in June-ish, and somebody came up to us and was like, yeah, I read your blog posts. And we were like, what?
Really?
People are engaging with our content? This is, I mean, the blog posts are like a niche that we've kind of hammered right through. So to have somebody like actually reading them and like actually engaging with our content more widely was just, because you sort of put this stuff out there, and because a lot of our stuff is digital, you just sort of like do it and then it goes, and you don't get that instant feedback. Whereas that was like, oh my god, we're actually doing something that people are like enjoying and want to read and interact with and stuff like that. So that's probably, I mean, it's not really, it's just like a more general highlight type thing, but
no, that's so nice.
By that person. I can't, who was it? I feel like we should shout them out, but I have no idea who it was.
Shout out to Lily Griffin. I know who it was. Good on Lily.
Yeah. Because I remember Ollie, I think, didn't you say there were only like 2 people like read the blog posts a week? But you know, so that's just,
I don't even know if it's still like, I'd be surprised if we had that kind of like readership numbers.
No, that's really wholesome. Because my housemate like came up to me the other week as well and was like, oh, I read your blog posts, and I was like, oh, Zach, shout out my man Zach. You know, people are out there reading them. We got fellow kickbackies. All right, Ollie, and how about you? Like any highlights?
I think one of the highlights was just having basically like a 2-day expenses paid holiday in Amersham. That was quite good for the workshop. I mean, the workshops were grand and all, but it was like, having the council pay for all that stuff and having them pay for, the train fare, and obviously Emma
they paid it. Well, this is news to me. Wow.
They paid for the train tickets, and they paid for at least my DBS check, and Emma very graciously lent us her house for a couple of days. And that was just really cool, because it was like, oh wait, people are actually, putting money into us to an extent, and oh wait, I get to have like a little holiday. I really enjoyed that, and it was like so hot and nice, and like it was great weather. I really enjoyed that.
Wow. No, I did see the pictures. Like the weather did look real nice. I mean,
it was scorching. That it was like end of August as well, like right near the end of August. It was scorching.
Wow, I'm kind of jealous.
Free t-shirts as well. Free Kickback
t-shirts.
Merch. What? I'm just looking around. I know it's on my floor somewhere. I just don't know where.
Mine's still in Birmingham somewhere.
Bit of cheeky promo. Well, now that we've kind of talked about the highlights, what would you say have been some of the biggest challenges that you've overcome or we've overcome as a company? Got to do the best of both worlds.
I feel there are a couple like really big ones that we all know about, but I'm not sure if they're like, can we air that? Can we
No, we can't. Put my foot down.
I think, yeah, there's been a couple of challenges that have hit us that we didn't really consider kind of going into this, because you think like, oh, you're a small company, you're an amateur company, you won't be dealing with a lot of like stuff that big companies would be dealing with, and we got hit with that. And so I think that's been our biggest challenge. It's the things where we haven't known instinctively what to do, and so we've asked around for help and asked other people for advice and stuff like that. But in those moments where it's just like none of us know what we should be doing right now, like with company setup and other things as well, it's just, that's been our biggest challenge, but also probably our biggest success, because then we make connections with the people who we ask for help, and then they're like, oh, I know that you're doing this now, I know that you're doing a company now. So pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah, I think the real silver lining to that is sort of when you're going through that like process of just constant research and constant reading and contacting people and asking questions, it's really humbling, because you just realize no one has any idea what they're doing. Like no one knows what they're doing. And it's an industry of no one knowing what they're doing and just winging it. And so that's kind of like, oh, okay, we're all idiots here, let's go. And that's quite nice as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, even with like the web design stuff, it's like the majority of the web design comes from me just looking at more successful websites and just stealing ideas. And it's like, oh wait, they probably did the same, and the people who did that probably did the same. And so it's just a process of people learning from one another and taking their ideas. And it doesn't matter if it's going to work or not. It's just people winging it.
For sure. Now, Kirsten, how about you?
Good, I'm good. Challenges. Oh yeah, I feel like Emma summarized that really nicely. And I would definitely agree. I think time is something that we've had to have a think about, because we're all third years now, final years. And it's like a lot of work having a theatre company, and then trying to, because we're all pretty much perfectionists as well, we want everything to be like the best it can be, and then you end up spending hours like doing video editing and trying to, yes, I know I didn't have to do nearly as much as Ollie, but even then, and I think it's just trying to manage that like workload balance as well, and maybe thinking it's okay to take like a little step back and have a little holiday over Christmas, which is what we did, so we can come back in the new year and start again and kind of be ready for whatever it throws at us.
Yes, exactly. Proud of us, guys, going on our first official break, because this has been on the go, man. We need a rest. But like, yeah, I think going off the back of that, we've kind of already touched upon some, but what would you guys say has been like what would you say has been the most memorable thing to happen to you or us to Kickback as a company? Like the thing that stands out the most? It could be funny, it could be, I don't know, sad, I don't know, yeah, just something that's memorable that you will carry with you throughout the rest of your life.
I think
question. Yes, sorry.
I was going to say the workshops with the kids, and we didn't really have any money, and so we put piles of sticks and garden twine and leaves, and we're like, yeah, make a costume. And some of the stuff that they come out with was just amazing, and their imaginations. But then they were quite funny, the kids as well. I mean, they would go around and like you give their child a stick and they instantly want to turn it into weapons and things. So I think we learned from that, but it was just really funny, and like they're really creative, and I think we all just had a really good time with that. And it was kind of nice to do something a bit different as well.
Oh, for sure. That's really wholesome. I feel like I kind of missed out on this, I'm gonna be living vicariously through you all. Emma, how about you? Any memorable moments?
Oh God, there are so many times, because they have been coming back and coming in and doing the double bill had been my first time back at directing since the pandemic. So a long time, and I was really nervous going into it, because I was like, oh my God, we're doing this for screen. I've not really thought about how to make a film properly before, how to make like a a digital piece of theatre other than Praxis, but there's no like director on the Praxis module. So we don't talk about Praxis, but like having, coming back and being like the ideas machine and getting stuff out of your actors, I was quite nervous going into. But I just remember like it was the time when we moved the mattress to throw like Ollie's speaker at or something, because there was a part in Cataclysmic, if you've seen it, go watch it, part in Cataclysmic where Heather chucks this speaker and we were like, oh, we'll move the mattress, we'll do this, and then everyone worked together to move this really stinky wet mattress into where we needed it to be. And that just for me, I think really highlighted like it's such a group effort, and like all of my nerves and the stuff just washed away because I knew that everybody was like there and we were all sort of working on it together. Like we had assigned roles and stuff like that, but it was very much this collaborative process, and I think that's the main thing I'll take away. And the Robin dive bombing Kirsten, I missed that, but like it plays in my head. Like there is not a day that goes by that I do not think about what that could have looked like, because I was looking the other way. I think me and Heather were doing script stuff at that point, and it just
I'm glad.
We were doing a take. We were doing a flat out take, I'm pretty sure. I think, Emma, you were filming Heather and Kirsten was
that must have been it. Yeah, it was getting like, it was like here with Heather and like actually with the dolly, so it was like here.
Yeah. Oh, no,
I was trying not to crunch bin stuff.
Crunch. I love that word. But wow, that sounds amazing. So kind of talking about, I guess, memorable moments and highlights and stuff, what has been your biggest achievement as a company this year or individually? But yeah, the kind of thing that trumps everything else that you kind of look at and you're like, I can't believe we did that, or I'm so proud that we did that as a company, because I can think of quite a few. And obviously it's quite a loaded question because we've done such a lot in such a short amount of time. So yeah, biggest achievement, what do you think? Silence.
Just existing. Just the fact that we still exist.
Survival.
Well, it's the fact that we've been doing this for like 8-9 months, and we have 3 productions, a podcast, about 36 blog posts, and a series of workshops we've done during a pandemic by a bunch of students with no money. And
we've got a £40 Argos voucher. We do have some money.
Thank you, UOB. Shout out.
A little bit.
And it's the fact that we still kind of exist, and like there's someone we're working with on a future project, and I remember introducing them to it and saying like, oh yeah, well, I mean, we've done all this, we're not technically an official company though, because we haven't done the paperwork. They were just like, wait, what? You're not an actual, like, but it all looks so professional. And it's the fact that when we introduce it to people, they think it's like a legitimate business, and it's like, well, we're not technically at that stage yet, but like we're really happy that we've managed to trick you into thinking that, because that's the first step. And yeah, I think we've set a very high bar in terms of quality, and I think we're doing a great job of meeting that.
Sure, I can't, literally everything that you just said, I was like, wow, we did that, like that. You just forget it happened in like the space of like a year. I don't know, 2021 has felt like 3 years in one. Honestly, it's been crazy. Kirsten, Emma, how about you guys?
I was waiting for you to go.
Everything really succinctly. This is the thing. You got it.
Don't all rush at once.
I mean, fair enough. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I wasn't massively involved in the Kickback collection, but Out of Your Mind was so good, and just having Serena Neer from LA be in that for me, because I had like minimal involvement on it. That for me being like, yeah, we've just got someone from LA doing the voice for free. It was just like, whoa, that's cool. Okay. So I think, Out of Your Mind was super, super cool. And it was nice seeing something that like we produce as a company, like from a different perspective of it. I could enjoy it as audience instead of being like admin type on it. It's different for you two.
Oh no, big up Serena Nair. Wow, that was wild. You know,
that was so cool.
What a legend. Kirsten, how about you?
Oh, I think I definitely agree. I think we've done a lot this year, so we can be really proud of ourselves. And we did finish off on a very high point, you know, because Out of Your Mind, Jazz, shout out there, was absolutely fantastic, and it got so many views on YouTube as well. Like, I think we were all quite surprised at how well, not like in a bad way, just like, wow, okay, people actually like want to watch this. And we've made so many new connections as well because of it. And I remember like back at the start, Ollie was saying about how important, like, even if we didn't do that much, but just kind of making those initial connections to begin with, and like networking with other people, and how important that was. And we've really started to like do that and start branching out, and like working with people who we haven't necessarily worked with before, don't know a lot about, and I think that's a really good thing. And moving forward, that's going to be really important in our new projects as well.
I agree. Yeah, networking is so important, man. And you know, we're already one step ahead of the game. And you saying that Out of Your Mind has like the most views ever. It's like it's got 250 now, which is kind of wild, you know, on the road to 300. I know, right? Wow. You know, us and Jazz.
Crazy.
Wild. But speaking of pieces that we've done, what would you guys say has been your favorite piece you've done this year, and why? I mean, we've got 3 pieces, so you know. But what has been your personal favorite?
Like choosing between children, Mia. Why are you asking?
Yeah, I know. I typed out the question. I was like, this is kind of mean, but I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
I love the drama of it all.
We could do one each. So.
Yeah.
There we go. That's fine.
We're solid. I mean, they're also kind of near and dear. I mean, Out of Your Mind is the first Kickback collection project, and that was when we were really sort of, because outreach has been so important to us since like the very beginning, and so that was our first attempt at it, and it seemed to go so well, and so that was amazing. Phone Call was fantastic as well. That was kind of the more sort of zoomy type performance, and you know, that was a very unique script for me as well because it was such an experiment. I think Cataclysmic has to be my favorite, purely because that was like the first theatre script I wrote. That was during a very interesting time for me when I was writing it. Filming it was grand. It was in my garden, and just like the fudging process of just editing it was wow, hell, and just amazing at the same time, because like there is almost no original audio in that entire video. Almost all of it is stuff I had to like redo and add in, and it just gave me a real appreciation for Foley artists and stuff like that. And it's just literally like 8 hours of editing every day for like 3 weeks, and then Cataclysmic comes out as this bastard child.
Oh man, yeah, honestly, I don't know how you did it, but you know, proud of you. 8 hours, I would simply pass away, but you did it. You did that.
So
That is an achievement in itself. Wow. How about you guys?
I think A Phone Call was toughest for me. Yeah. And that made it the most rewarding, because like Cataclysmic, it was a lot of stage direction. We just sort of explored it as soon as we realized that we were not going to get much done on Zoom, and we chose a location and started shooting and rehearsing on location. That felt a lot easier, because I was like, this is a muscle that I know, like I'm directing real people in real space, and we'll just capture it how we capture it. But A Phone Call, because it is so like linguistically based and textually based and everything, like that was the hardest, because there's no plot, there's no real, like, you had to sort of create story out of everything. Yeah, I know page numbers as well, thankfully. Especially in Act 3.
Well, it's
no
it's like
thanks.
Creative decision. It means you can like reorder the script and like time is meaningless.
No. Sure. Cool. Didn't help us in rehearsals, I did it. But no, I think because of those challenges, because of all of the kind of working with you guys and stuff like that, it was the most rewarding for me to see on screen, because you never know quite where, you know, what you're doing in rehearsal is going to translate nicely, and then it all suddenly kind of came together, and I was like, yeah, nice, that was cool. Nice.
It did look so sick. Very, very proud. Although I will agree with you on the page number thing. You know, it was just kind of like, go to this specific bit in Act 3. I don't know.
It was like, because in Act 3 it's like this repeated cycle of words. So it was like, right, top of the page it's like push, pull, and then on the opposite page you've got like bottom of the opposite page is like water or something. It was like the most I am on my knees begging for page numbers in our next project. Like, we have to have them, I walk, I'm gone.
I don't think people are going to print out the scripts. It's just like,
I will, okay, I will, because I doodle on it, right? So give me the page numbers I deserve. 2K22 is the year of page numbers at Kickback. Please.
Emma gets page numbers, no one else does.
Yes, that's fine.
Kirsten, how about you? Any faves?
Oh, it's really tricky. I mean, I liked working with Jazz on Out of Your Mind because I was there.
I see what you've done.
Yeah.
Continue.
Because I got to see that from the beginning and then follow it through to the end. And then I ended up being the one actually uploading it to YouTube in a panic, like on the evening of its release, hoping that my internet would allow for uploading something that big. But it was fine and it went up. But kind of following it through and then having the meetings and then seeing the initial script design and then all the bits editing and like following through that process was really lovely, because obviously I missed out Ollie wrote the script, so kind of like missed out that part of the process, so I actually got to see it being written. I feel like I got to see it from the very beginning, and even just that initial meeting that we had when we like picked out ideas and stuff, like we very much followed the whole process through. So it's very successful, and if you haven't seen it yet, you have to watch it because it is so good, honestly. But yeah, that probably doesn't help. We know we've now got one each, so we love our children all equally.
Yeah, that's true. We do love all our children here at Kickback. Yeah, we don't have favorites, so you know what? I'm glad we've done that. Speaking of, I guess, pieces and the future of Kickback, what are your kind of goals for 2022 as a company? Any particular things you want to achieve or you want to try and do for next year, or have you not thought that far ahead? Because honestly, I'm just taking every day as it comes at the minute, but you know, you guys might be different.
Well, I think we're also taking every single day of it as it comes, but we shouldn't be, because I mean, for me personally, we're very firmly in pre-production for a show that we'd like to bring to the physical world that people can come and see in person next summer. Hopefully. We're still trying to work out this timeline, and but scripts are being finished, conversations are being had, and our little family is expanding. Please come join if you want to be part of said expansion. Little plug there. But everything, yeah, from my perspective, we've got a really, really nice, exciting, big and uplifting project for next summer. So keep in touch about that. But that's my big goal, is to have that happen and for it to be good and for us to break even. Yeah. That's it. I want nothing more. If we get money, fine. But as long as we don't lose anybody, that's it. We're all good.
Try not to think like that, you know, we're manifesting. It will all be fine.
I'm manifesting a huge profit. I'm being realistic though.
All right, okay. Anyone else? Any other goals you have in mind?
Yeah. Just like continue existing is mainly my goal. And also, obviously, because this project will be in person, it means we are now pushed to tick off some of those things on that original list, like become an official business, non-profit business and stuff like that. So that's like my personal goal, just kind of being able to, you know, in 5-6 months time, be able to go like, hey, I co-own this theatre company. That's also a legitimate business. We have the paperwork. Don't try and
Proof.
We have proof. We have the receipts. And just being able to go like, hey, I technically kind of co-own this non-profit business. I think that'd be really, really cool thing to say. And would have made this degree worthwhile.
Yeah.
Made the $9,000 a year worth it.
Boy.
Kirsten, how about you?
I'm just excited that we've got some stuff coming up that people can get involved in. And I won't say too much, but it's going to be good. And we will break even or you get a profit. I'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, expand a bit, become a legit business and take on board the problems that might bring. But it'll be fine. We've got this because I feel like this year was so good that, you know, we're a strong team. We can work together and it'll all be fine.
Yeah, we are the dream team. So as a kind of like final question and kind of linked to the previous, can you give us any hints as to what is to come next year for Kickback / the show? If you're allowed to give any spoilers or hints, can you? Question mark.
It's picking out what we can say, because we've been being like, we've got something coming up for like a month now, so
yeah.
But it's like, you know, in 9 months in our first year, we've been able to make 3 projects. Given a 4 year with an established team and established resources, we're going to be able to make maybe even more. And I think that's really, really cool. Kickback Collection is still going to go strong. We're still going to produce more stuff like that. We got this actual show. So, you know, hey, we could be looking at this time next year with actual productions that have actually made money and go like, hey, we have a fully substantial portfolio. So just expect lots of content and expect lots of cool stuff. Rory's trying to be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, we have so much stuff. I'm so excited for Kickback Collection, man. Like Jazz really kind of like hit it off with a bang. It's so great. Yeah, keep an eye peeled for next year, guys, because it's going to be crazy. Kirsten, do you have any final words or hints you want to drop now or never?
I will not drop anything because we can have it decided between the 3 of us. You can see the eye contact going around. It's like, what are we allowed to say? What are we not allowed to say? So there will be stuff happening, and if you want to get involved, then definitely keep an eye out on our social media for upcoming opportunities because they will be released. And I guess Happy New Year from Kickback.
So
yes. Oh
just,
my god.
Just jumping on that. So Kirsten, so you're saying like, would you say you don't know what else to say? Is that what you're saying? Okay, that's interesting. Cool.
That is interesting.
I feel like our reaction gave more away than any of the words could.
Comment on that one, guys.
Just like mic drop.
But yeah, oh my god, it is the end of 2021. We've made it. Wow. That I'm proud of us for making it this far. But yes, we hope you've all had an amazing Christmas and that you will all continue to have an amazing new year, even with kind of COVID going around and everything. But I'm sure that will not stop us as a company and you guys as viewers. It'll be great, and we will be back from our little break at some point in January. So, you know, we'll be back sooner than you think, and there'll be lots of opportunities and fun announcements. It'll be great. Also, this will be coming out at the end of the week, so it's not like quiet, but you know. There we go. Any final words, guys?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yes. Happy New Year. I was about to say, we can't say anything more. We can't.
Don't speak.
I'm banning us. We can't say enough.
It's just like a team of lawyers behind the camera going, shut up.
Shut up.
Don't say anymore. All right, yeah. Happy New Year, fellow Kickbackies, and see you in 2022. Farewell. Goodbye.